Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good afternoon, sir. Good morning, sir.
Can we start?
Beautiful morning, everyone. Respected MD and CEO, executive directors, general manager at corporate office, field general managers, zone managers, retired staff members, beloved customers, friends and family members. I welcome one and all on this International Day of Yoga. Yoga is 5,000-year-old tradition from India that combines physical, mental, and spiritual pursuit to achieve harmony of the body and mind. Indian yoga, which is practiced in its various forms, is slowly garnering popularity across the globe. Scientific research has proven that yoga can help reduce stress levels, increase awareness, build immunity, and strong physical and mental health. Amid the adverse times of the pandemic, this year, International Day of Yoga is putting its focus on well-being beyond the immediate impact on physical health. The idea of international yoga was conceived by our Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, who proposed the concept on September 27, 2014, during his speech at UN General Assembly. In the words of our own Prime Minister, yoga is invaluable gift of India's ancient tradition. It embodies unity of mind and body, thought and action, presence and fulfillment, harmony between man and nature, a holistic approach to health and well-being. It is not about exercise, but to discover the sense of oneness with yourself, the world, and the nature. By changing your lifestyle and creating consciousness, it can help in well-being. Let us work towards adopting an International Day of Yoga. The International Day of Yoga 2021 presents an occasion to underline the health benefits of yoga and motivate all of us to take pursuit of yoga. In order to improve the physical and mental well-being of our staff during the COVID pandemic, Bank has been conducting a series of wellness webinars addressed by eminent doctors and psychologists. Every year, Bank has been observing International Day of Yoga by organizing yoga events across the country for the benefit of our staff members. In view of the ongoing pandemic situation and lockdown, it has been decided to observe the International Day of Yoga by scheduling webinar on Yoga International Yoga in coordination with MESA Isha Foundation Coimbatore. Isha Foundation offers customized system of yoga and combines postural yoga with chanting, breathing, and meditation. Isha Foundation is founded by Shri Jagdish Vasudev, fondly known as Sadhguruji, is a volunteer-run international non-profit organization dedicated cultivating human potential. The foundation is a human service organization that recognizes the possibility of each person to empower another, restoring global community through inspiration and digital transformation. Founder of Isha Yoga, Shri Jagi Vasudevji is an Indian yogi and author of several books. His Inner Engineering, a Yogi Guide to Joy, made the New York Times bestseller list in several categories. He received the Padma Vibhushana, the second highest civilian award from the Government of India in the year 2017, in recognition of his contribution to the field of spirituality. Sadhguru says, quality of your life depends on how well you manage your body, your mind, your emotion, your situation, your home, your community, nation, and your life in general and the world. Isha Foundation is located on the foothills of Vilangiri Mountains, 40 kilometers from the city of Coimbatore in the state of Tamil Nadu. The flagship program of Isha Foundation is titled Inner Engineering, which introduces people to simple yoga practices, and Sambhavi Mahamudra, corporate leadership, forms a core audience of these programs. Besides this, Isha Foundation organizes various educational, social initiatives, environmental initiatives, Rally for Rivers, Project Green Hands, etc. I will start today's webinar with the blessings of Sadhguru Shri Jagi Vasudevji, followed by techniques of yoga by Shri Shad Shankara and his team from Isha Foundation. I welcome Team Isha Foundation and hand over the mic to Mr. Shad Shankara. Mr. Shad Shankara.
Namaskaram. Thank you for your kind words, sir. I hope my audio is clear.
Okay, a little bit increase if you can increase the volume, otherwise okay.
Okay,
Come
sir.
little closer to the.
How is it now?
Okay.
Is it clear?
It is, I think now it on the higher side, little bit. You can just reduce a little bit volume. Okay,
I hope now it is fine.
fine, fine.
Yeah. Thank you for your kind words, Mahesh Bajaj sir. Namaskaram to all of you. Happy International Day, International Yoga Day to all of you. We congratulate and thank you for taking this step for your inner well-being and for your health in this pandemic situation. And before we start the session, we would like to show you a special message from Sadhguru to Indian Bank.
Namaskaram to all of you at Indian Bank. Once again, 7th International Day of Yoga, 7th anniversary of this wonderful possibility of yoga being acknowledged as a science of inner well-being. Not a religion, not a belief system, not a philosophy or ideology, but the science of inner well-being. As there are sciences for external well-being, this is a science for inner well-being. On this day, uh, over 15,000 years ago, Adi Yogi turned south. As the sun's trajectory in relation to the planet turns south on this day, it's called the summer solstice. On this day, he turned south and began to propound the science of yoga. So this is a day that's been declared as International Day of Yoga. This particular International Day of Yoga is more significant than ever before, simply because of the pandemic. We have realized as a generation of people how our lives can be just turned upside down. All of a sudden, without warning, the pandemic. So at a time like this, building a vibrant and resilient body, a joyful and focused mind, and indefatigable sense of energy within you is most essential to fight these external invasions, which scientists are predicting may happen again and again. Still, the pandemic is not over. We cannot say this is post-pandemic. This is pandemic season still. Already we have seen 2 waves in India and across the world, also in many different countries. The authoritative voices in this arena of life of virology are saying this could last much longer than we have imagined. So, it's extremely important that we build a system, we build a body which is resilient and a mind which is balanced and exuberant so that we can go through these rigors of life with least amount of distortions to our lives. So yoga is a tremendous possibility. Yoga is not a simple form of exercise, this is a complex mechanism, understanding the mechanics of human existence, how we are made and how we can take it to the highest possibility. The word yoga literally means union, that means we consciously obliterate the boundaries of our individuality to know the universal nature of our existence, how being here as a tiny little piece of life that we are in this cosmos, we are capable of experiencing the cosmos. Being here in this moment of time, we are capable of experiencing the eternal nature of this existence. This is a possibility that India offers to the rest of the world. Well, of course, there are health benefits, there are various other aspects that even to fulfill the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, this can be a very effective tool. Healthcare should go. Health and well-being, we must understand, can only come from within us. Doctors and scientists can help us when we are sick. But health is not something that'll ever come to us from a doctor or a medical professional. It is something that has to come from within us. If we understand this, health does not mean just being disease-free. Health means you're at the peak of life. In terms of body, in terms of mind, in terms of emotions and energies, you are at the very peak possibility of your existence. This is health, and we should not aim for anything less than that. Yoga has this potency, yoga has the necessary science and technology to deliver you there. These tools of self-transformation, these technologies for well-being must be employed by everybody in their lives. We at Isha, particularly for this pandemic situation, this pandemic world that we are in right now, we have created a small package which will enhance the immune system and also bring equanimity to your mind and vibrancy to your body. This is a very simple package, investing a few minutes a day, free of cost. It's available online. Please make use of it. It is available in full detail and depth for those who are interested, and in a simple package for those who want to just do a simple practice. It is available everywhere, free of cost, and dedicated volunteers are always on call to attend to these possibilities with you and make sure that you benefit from this. Every human being on this planet should make use of it. It's my wish and my blessing. Every one of you should bring in some aspect of yoga into your life and live a complete life. It doesn't matter. Pandemic has come our way, that is the reality, but we have to come on top of this. We have to come out successfully out of this situation, not be crushed by this situation. We as human beings are capable of this. I will once again repeat that this time around, this pandemic, the sole carrier of this virus is the human being. So if human beings are into some sense of yoga, that means they have become more conscious, not a compulsive life. If this happens, controlling and restraining the pandemic, stopping it in its tracks is very much in our hands. Let's make it happen. Let's take this stand on this International Day of Yoga. We will bring yoga into our life and definitely beat the virus.
Namaskaram, and once again warm welcome to all of you. Uh, my name is Sharath, and I'm a Isha Yoga instructor, and I'm a full-time volunteer at the Isha Foundation. Today, being the International Day of Yoga, we are very happy that you have all have taken this step towards your well-being and health. Before we start the session, there are a few things that we can take care so that we experience the session in the best possible way. Please dedicate the next 1 hour exclusively for the session. Also, please ensure there are no interruptions in between, like getting up, taking the calls, and attending to the messages. Please ensure that you are in a quiet space without any disturbances. It is best to join the session through your laptop and use your earphones. But if you are joining through your phone, please keep your phone in a do not disturb mode. Now you can take a moment to set the right ambience for yourself. Shall we start? Okay. Now, Sadhguru will introduce us to a yogic practice to boost our oxygen levels in our system. Now we will watch the video together. You don't have to do the practice as you see the demonstration. After the video, we will see how and when to do the practice. Right now, just observe the practice.
There is an asana, a yogic posture, which is called as Sashtang. The significance of this posture is that you touch 8 points of your body to the ground and hold it there. In this posture, the lung, particularly the lung, functions in a certain way. There are various aspects to it, but we are talking about enhancing oxygen levels in the system. The entire pulmonary system functions in a unique way in this asana. This is one of the most common asanas, which has gotten distorted in many ways in common use, where almost every devotee is supposed to go into this posture, but due to lack of instruction and understanding, people are just lying down on the ground. Here is a proper demonstration of Sashtang, or touching 8 points of your body to the ground, holding it that way and breathing slightly deeper than normal. Here, the forehead, chest, two hands, two knees and the big toes are on the floor, heels together, holding it this way. The breath will naturally become in a slightly exaggerated way. Hold it that way, if possible, 6 to 7 minutes. Otherwise, start with 3 minutes. After you have done this for 6 to 7 minutes, relax your body so that the entire body touches the floor and get into what is called as Makarasana. If you are a male person, keep right hand on top of the left hand. If you are a woman, keep left hand on top of the right hand, put your forehead on top of it and just let your body relax for 3 to 4 minutes. And then move your right leg in such a way that the thigh is at right angles to the body and below the knee is also at right angles to the thigh part of your leg. And turn your head to the right, eyes closed, normal breathing, and relax into this posture for 3 to 4 minutes. And do the same on the other side. Turn your head to the left side, get your left leg into that posture where it is almost like you're sitting on a chair. That is, your thigh is at right angles to the rest of the body and below the knee, the shin and the calf muscle is also at right angles to the thigh, and your head is looking towards the left, placed upon your palms, and relax into this posture for 3 to 4 minutes. And once again, go into Sashtang for 6 to 7 minutes. You can do a cycle like this 3 times at a time, and you can do it 4 to 5 times in a day, especially because most of you are wearing masks right now. The danger of decreased oxygen levels, even without infections, can happen because of this. If you do this 4 to 5 times in a day, this regimen, your oxygen levels will definitely be up, and follow this with Simha Kriya so that your immune system will function much better. There is substantial medical evidence today to show that it actually works like this. Many universities have invested their research into this, so don't go on debating this, just put this into action. It is not an absolute cure or a preventive, but we must understand our health is not an absolute either. Our health is a consequence of many incremental steps that we take. Please take this step at these pandemic times and ensure, to whatever extent possible, that you do not become a victim, nor do you become a spreader. Namaskaram and thank you.
This practice is called as Sashtang, and it is a very powerful practice to enhance the oxygen levels in the body. To do this practice, one needs to be on an empty stomach condition. Empty stomach means if you had eaten a full meal, you need to wait 4 hours before you do the practice. If you have eaten a fruit or a few biscuits like a slight snack, you need to wait 2.5 hours before you can do the practice. If you have taken any beverage like tea, coffee, milk, you need to wait 1.5 hours before you can do the practice. Right now, we don't know. Many of you may not be in this empty stomach condition. So right now, we won't attempt the practice. After the session, we will post a link for the practice. You can watch the video once again, and when you are comfortable with the instructions and when you are on empty stomach, you can do the practice by yourself. Now we will watch the next practice, which is called as Simha Kriya. This Simha Kriya has been offered by Sadhguru during the initial times of pandemic as a powerful tool to enhance the lung capacity and also to boost the immunity. Recently, there has been a study on Simha Those who have been practicing Simha for at least 4 months have experienced a sense of calmness and peacefulness and a great sense of immunity. So right now we will watch the demonstration together. When you are watching the demonstration, you need not do the practice at that time. After the demonstration, we will do the practice together.
Techniques are known to have many benefits for the body, mind, and energies. Sadhguru offers Simha Kriya, a simple but powerful yogic practice to boost the immunity and enhance our lung capacity. Sadhguru will be giving the instructions. It is important that you receive these instructions properly. Please dedicate the next 10 minutes exclusively for this process. Please do not attempt the practice while watching the video. First, listen to the complete instructions and then attempt the practice on your own.
So this is a simple practice for those of you who do not know any other powerful process. One thing is, it will enhance your lung capacity, another thing is, it'll enhance your immunity. And above all, if you can do it today, if you can do it for next 5 days, and suddenly one day you're not able to do it, this means definitely you got some respiratory problem. It doesn't matter what it is, you must have yourself checked if you suddenly find you're not able to do it. What it involves is that you have to fully stretch your tongue out with your mouth fully open and then breathe as powerfully as possible without jerking the abdomen, but powerful pushing in and pushing out, both inhalation, exhalation, 21 times. And when it is done, you roll up your tongue upward, push it as further back as you can. You don't have to use your hands, this is not a good time to use your hands. So roll up your tongue fully as much as you can by itself, like… and still with your mouth open, again breathe the same way. Inhalation, exhalation as powerfully as possible, but you must get the sound by making a constriction in your throat like this. The sound must be there, it's important that you form a constriction at the throat, at the pit of your throat, and make the sound, and inhalation, exhalation, fully exhaling, fully inhaling as powerfully as you can, but without jerking the abdomen, another 21 times with the tongue rolled up. Throughout the whole process, you have your eyes closed, you inhale fully and simply sit there with the fullness of breath for 1 minute. If you are beyond a certain age or your breathing is not that good, at least 30 seconds. If you're not able to do 1 minute, a minimum of 30 seconds you stay there. When the day you're not able to do it, you must understand that there is some problem with your respiratory system and you must go for a checkup. Right now, I want you to just observe, don't do it, just observe and I will tell you how to go about the process. So what's being done is, one has to sit in a cross-legged posture, whichever way you can, whatever your body permits, and then use both the arms to push it up in such a way that your rib cage lifts off the diaphragm region, fully pushed up, and now extend your tongue fully out. Like this 21 times. When it's done, then close your mouth, that also 21 times, then close your mouth. You exhale with your mouth closed, making the sound at the pit of your throat by creating a constriction. And then if you wish to sit quietly for some time with your eyes closed, do that, and then you can do whatever you're doing. This is a simple practice that anybody could do. You ensure your stomach is not too full, you must be somewhat hungry. Even if you're not totally empty stomach, at least you must be somewhat hungry kind of situation. So, this is a simple practice, particularly those who are exposed either because you are medicinal, you're police, you're in some other sense where you're exposed to infected people, please make sure you do this will make a lot of difference for you.
Conditions for the practice. You should be somewhat hungry. Ideally, give at least 2.5 hours space between your last meal and the practice. Anyone between the age of 6 to 70 years can do the practice, regardless of their physiological and medical conditions. Those below 6 years of age and those above 70 years of age can also do the practice, but they must do the breathing 12 times only, not 21 times. People with a brain hemorrhage or a brain tumor can do the practice, but they must do the breathing 12 times only, not 21 times. You can practice Simha Kriya up to 3 times daily, ensuring you leave a minimum of 4 hours gap between 2 consecutive practices. Please do the practice exactly as instructed. Do not make any changes or modifications to it, such as increasing the count.
Now we will do the Simha Kriya practice along with Sadhguru's guidance. It is best to sit in a cross-legged posture to do the practice. But for some reason, due to some medical condition, if you are unable to do in a cross-legged posture, you can sit on a chair and cross your legs at the ankles right over the left, and you can do the practice. This is not an ideal way, but if you are unable to if you are unable to sit for any reason, then you can make use of this posture. Right now we will go through the practice along with Sadhguru's guidance.
Sit in a cross-legged posture. Place your palms facing downward upon your thighs, close to the knees. Use both your arms to push your body upward in such a way that your rib cage lifts off the diaphragm region. Close your eyes. Open your mouth wide and extend your tongue out fully. Breathe in and out powerfully, moving the abdomen muscles but without jerking the abdomen. with full inhalations and exhalations, making the sound from the pit of your throat. Do this 21 times. If you happen to be over 70 years of age, do it a maximum of 12 times only. Roll your tongue upwards, push it as far back as you can towards the uvula. With an open mouth, breathe the same way, inhalation and exhalation as powerfully as possible, making the sound from the pit of your throat. Do this 21 times. If you happen to be over 70 years of age, do it a maximum of 12 times only. Close your mouth, inhale fully and hold your breath. Simply sit there, holding your breath with the fullness of breath for 1 minute or a minimum of 30 seconds. Hold your breath as long as it's comfortable for you. When you feel like exhalation, exhale through the nostrils with your mouth closed, making the sound at the pit of your throat. You can sit there quietly for some time and open your eyes when you feel like it.
You can slowly open your eyes. Are you able to do the practice? If you have any questions regarding the practices, now we have some time. You can post your questions in the chat box. This is a very simple practice. It just takes 2 minutes for you to do Simakriya, but it will help to boost your immunity. So please see in a day that you can, whenever you have a slightly empty stomach condition, that means after a full meal you leave at least 2.5 hours gap, and then you can do the practice. You make sure that you make a constriction at the pit of the throat and stretch your tongue out and breathe powerfully, both inhalation and exhalations, without jerking the stomach. Now we will wait for the questions.
I have a question in the last, how we can start with the practice next.
Uh,
Second I will keep in the last.
Sir, can you repeat, sir?
question answer will keep in the last. We can carry on with our program.
Okay. Just give me a minute. So right now we are almost at the end of the session. We hope that you have enjoyed the session. We would like to go take you through a small meditation guided by Sadhguru.
Shall we start posting the questions in that case?
Yes, sir. You can. Yeah, you can post a question.
Let's put in the chat. Yeah, Mr. Kumar, can you post the questions?
So the first question is, what is the best time in a day to do yoga practice? Also, what are the situations when one should refrain from doing yoga? So, what is the best time to practice yoga? There are certain ideal times to practice yoga, but as long as you meet the empty stomach condition for both the practice, you can do the practice. You may be busy in your schedule. Sometimes it may not be possible for you to make use of these situations, but you can still get benefited from these practices. So the ideal time to do yoga practices would be in the morning once you get up when you are in empty stomach condition, so that the kriya will leave you in a rejuvenated way, so that the rest of the day you can benefit from the practice. So the Simha Kriya you can do 3 to 4 times a day, and leaving a gap of 4 hours between each Kriya, and make sure that you have a 2.5 hours gap between your meal. Sashtang you can do 3 to 4 times a day. You need to have 4 hours gap before you start the practice after your full meal. What are the situations when one should refrain from doing yoga? As long as you meet the instructions and the conditions for the practice, you can always do yoga. There is no time that you can restrict yourself. You can always do the yoga. There are certain situations for some of the practices. It is advisable not to do from 11:40 to 12:20 in the midnight. You can exclude this timing, 11:40 p.m. to 12:20 p.m. Otherwise, you can do the yoga practice anytime as long as you meet the conditions. This period, this is called a Sandhya Kala, midnight Sandhya Kala. This is not advisable for those who are in family situation to make use of the practice at that time. So otherwise you can do it anytime. The second question is yoga a physical exercise only or a mental one too? Are there any side effects of doing yoga? So the yoga is not a physical exercise. As Sadhguru might have told many times, you might have listened, it is not a physical exercise. It is a subtle way of aligning your body so that you reach your ultimate goal. So it is not nothing to do with your mind, nothing to do with your body, but you can make use of both of these instruments that you have to for your inner well-being. Are there any side effects for doing yoga? So whenever we teach yoga, especially the kriyas, we take a lot of care for you to give the instructions and get the instructions properly before you do the practice. So this is a very subtle science. As long as you meet the conditions for the practice and follow the instructions, there is no harm. If you happen to do a minor mistakes, it will reduce the impact of the kriya, but it will not cause any harm. The third question, in these pandemic times, how doing yoga is beneficial to us? Are there any specific asanas that we can practice to prevent ourselves from coronavirus or to improve immunity in general. We just saw the two practices, these two practices which you can make use of, which will enhance your health in a wonderful way. Apart from that, there are other practices, Hatha Yoga practices, and the Kriyas that you can do and boost your immunity to a great extent. We will be posting the link for the programs at the end of the session in the chat box. The fourth question is there any predefined order or sequence in which various asanas of the yoga should be done? Will doing random asanas affect our health adversely? Right now we don't know what other practices you have learned. These two practices, Sashtanga and Simha, you can do in the same order. First you can do Sashtanga and then followed by Simha. If you have learned any other Isha Yoga practices, you can do this. There is no particular order for these two practices. You can either do before those Isha Yoga practices or after, whenever you feel comfortable. The fifth question: after recovering from COVID, is it safe to do all types of yogasanas? Yes, you can do by yogasanas, which we are not very sure. There are different yogasanas, but all the Isha yoga practices you can do during COVID and after the COVID also. It will help you in an immense way. How is yoga different from stretching exercises and how is it better? So we want you to know this by experientially. You do the practice and see within yourself how you feel. Are you little more balanced between you within yourself? Are you able to conduct yourself in a balanced way? This you can experience by yourself. Personally, it has been a wonderful for me to have been introduced to yoga. I was very fortunate enough to come across Sadhguru, and I have learned these practices. I can see clearly. My health has improved a lot, and within myself, I can carry a sense of a balance within myself, no matter what is the outside situation. So this is a great thing. It's a great turning point in my life, and hope you can make use of it too. We want you to experience it by yourself. Now we will take the last question. Whether a COVID recovered person can immediately start doing pranayama, when can the above person start doing Surya Namaskar after 1 month or 2 months, etc. You can do the practice immediately after the COVID or during the COVID also. It will help you to a great extent. There is no time limit or no need to leave a gap after recovering from the COVID also. You make use of the practices and continue to do the practices even after recovering from the COVID.
Sure, Shankarji, if you permit, there are a couple of questions on YouTube and I got through my chat box. If you permit, can I ask?
Sure, sir.
We have another 10 to 15 minutes. Can I ask questions?
Yes, please.
Yeah, there is one question, whether yoga is to be done under supervision only or it can be learned online. Does Isha Foundation run one such yoga course?
Yeah, so when you learn the practice, it is always very important to learn from the proper source, and then once you are clear with the instructions, you can always do the practice by yourself. If you have any doubt on any conditions how to do it, you always have to make sure that you are following the proper instructions and then do the practice. So it is best to follow the instructions without any. It is very important that you do not make any changes for the practice. Now, does Isha Foundation run any course like that? We have a flagship program called Inner Engineering, which is available online now. This course contains 7 online sessions, which can greatly bring a mental balance and prepare you for you to receive the Shambhavi Mahamudra. This course is available online. Both the Shambhavi Mahamudra and the In Engineering Online are available online. We will post the link for the same in the chat box at the end of the session. Personally, this program has been a turning point in my life. I was a software engineer and I came across Sadhguru and I went through this program. The program was so beautiful and it has got me so many benefits that I couldn't ignore the sense that it is making within myself. So I decided I offer this course, dedicating my life to this because I want to take this to as many people as I want, as I can, as many people as I can. So we will be posting the links. If you are interested, you can see the details, more details about the course.
Now the chat box question. Chitrali, what is the ideal age to introduce yoga to kids and how it should be done?
Can you repeat the question, sir?
This question from Chitrali. What is the ideal age to introduce yoga to kids and how it should be done for the kids?
Namaskaram. Yeah, Namaskaram, Chetali. So there are certain practices Isha Yoga offers, which are above 15 years of age, and there are certain practices below 15 years of age also they can do. It depends on the practice that they are going to learn. So the practices that we looked today, they both can be done by the children. If they are below 6 years of age, Simakriya, they need to ensure that they should only do the breathing 12 times, not 21 times. And also, the pregnant women should not do the Sashtanga. Just please keep this in mind. But the children, yes, they can do the practices.
This question from Anubala Rangaram. Can we sit in Vajrasana posture for Simhakriya?
No, this practice is a very subtle science and designed by Sadhguru with an understanding of the human body. So do not make any modifications for the practice. It has to be done in a cross-leg posture.
Shweta Kumari, how to get rid of cervical spondylosis from yoga?
Namaskaram, Shweta ji, right? Shweta ji. Cervical spondylitis, we don't know how much extent it has that condition is to you right now. There are a few practices, neck practices, which are available online in YouTube. You see the neck practices. If you are comfortable enough to do the practices, I recommend you to do them at least twice a day and see if it is reducing your condition.
This is one question from Mr. Partha Sarthi. What are the appropriate asanas and pranayam for diabetes and thyroid?
Diabetes and?
Thyroid.
There are the practices, all the Isha Yoga practices or any yoga practices are not designed specifically for a disease. It is designed for inner well-being of a person. So these, as a side effect, you may get the benefits. You may see some health benefits and you may see some mental benefits. But these are not the sole purpose of yoga. So you see, you do the practice. If it is helping you, it's a good. And but don't approach the yoga like this. To get this benefit, I want to do yoga.
There's one question from Mr. Srinivasulu. While holding breathe, tongue to be normal or rolled up?
So during Sumakriya, the first part, you will be stretching your tongue out fully and then making a constriction from the throat. You do the breathing powerfully 21 times, both inhalation and exhalation, without jerking the abdomen. After doing 21 times, you roll up your tongue as far back as possible and then do the breathing 21 times. both powerful inhalation and exhalation without jerking the abdomen. After
Question.
that, you can sit in a in the same posture and take a deep inhalation and hold your breath as long as it is comfortable for you.
The question from Kalpana: which kind of yoga is good for weight loss?
Namaskaram, Kalpana. So as we just saw, you don't approach the yoga in that way, but there are certain practices that we have seen which have brought this benefit. There is Angamardana, which Isha Yoga offers. Right now, due to the pandemic situation, we are not able to conduct these sessions all over the India. But in your place, if you see any Hisha Hatha Yoga teachers are conducting these sessions, we recommend you to attend that. It is a great way to start yoga because it brings flexibility and prepares your body for the other practices.
It's a question from Rajkumari: any specific preferences and precautions to be taken for asthmatic people?
These two practices, even if you're asthmatic patient, there is no problem in doing the practices. You can do the practice. If if you have a brain tumor or a brain, if you have been operated on the brain, then you do the practice only 12 times, the Simhakriya practice.
Rajiv Sinha: is there any yoga posture to heal any and relax joints, pains, and ligament?
There are certain Upayoga practices which lubricates the joint. These are called Upayoga practices, which are available both on Sadhguru app and on the YouTube as well. These Upayoga practices will lubricate the joints, and it is a very good way to start the other yoga practices. We recommend you to do the practices. You can check the practice and see if it is helping you.
There are a couple of questions, but I think we are left out with 7 to 8 minutes. One last question I'll ask. The Kunal Garg: how to improve digestion through yoga?
Namaskaram, Kunal. So, as we just discussed, don't approach the yoga to gain particular benefit. It is a very immense tool that you can use to develop for your inner well-being and for you to develop in both body and mind uh, to equip yourself for every situation that you can face and for your ultimate well-being. So it is best not to approach the yoga that way, but there will be some practices that may help you. But I don't know any particular practice that can directly help you for digestion.
Thank you, Sharji. Now
So
yeah, you
we
want to show anything in the end, Mr. Shah? Any meditation you
uh,
are telling? Or
right now, I think we don't have enough time for the meditation. Right now, I just want to thank all of you for coming to the session, and we hope that you enjoyed the session. Now, apart from doing these practices, there are a few things that you can do. If you consume neem and turmeric and amla on a regular basis, this will help boost your immunity. We will also post a link in the chat box with a detailed description of immunity tips from Sadhguru. We hope you make use of them. Right now, I hope you keep up these practices from now on and keep yourself safe. Namaskar.
yeah, Namaskar, Mr. Shah. Now I request our Executive Director, Shri Ramchandran sir, to conclude the session.
Yeah. Again, namaskaram and good morning to all the participants in the webinar. I'm extremely happy to be associated with the International Yoga Day celebrations of our bank. And the world over has been reeling under the effects of COVID-19 pandemic from early 2020 onwards. And now the world has realized the importance of health and the well-being of the individuals and enjoying the harmony with nature and one's surroundings. We have realized that it's not curing, which is of an illness or a disease is important, but developing the necessary immunity to prevent falling ill. And it is because of the present day food habits and the sedentary lifestyle which we lead that has largely contributed to the deterioration in the immunity. And not only we fall prey to the viruses and the bacteria, but also develop ailments that range from joint pains to diabetes to heart ailments and so on. The irony is that there is a lot of information about it, and yet we are continuing to ignore the same. And yoga, as Sadhguru was mentioning, it's about 15,000 years ago it has been propounded. And in the year 2014, at the initiative of our Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji, as Mr. Bajaj said, when he's addressed to the United Nations unanimously adopted June 21st of every year as the International Yoga Day to emphasize the harmony between nature and the human beings. And not only the human beings, but all the animals and the plants which are there in the ecosystem. Yoga, it is clarified that it's not a physical exercise, but it's to bring about a synergy between or a harmony between the inner self and the external world. It improves the flexibility of the body, increases the concentration of the mind, and also the overall well-being of the individual. And we have to properly coordinate with the food intake. It develops the physical health, improves the mental health, and also the spiritual well-being of an individual. The healthy diet, along with the healthy breathing processes and the concentration of the mind, protects the individuals from the occupational hazards of the present day life and to develop the necessary immunity to fight all these common ailments. And this year's theme of the International Yoga Day has been "Be with Yoga, be at home," because we cannot prevent congregation in common places. Otherwise, we would have been Indian Bank would have been happy to have these done in a common place where everybody would have practiced and learned the exercises, the Simakriya and the Sashtang yoga practices, which has been demonstrated by the Isha Yoga Foundation. And we are fortunate to hear the initial message from Sadhguru, which was definitely insightful and motivational. And I also thank the organizers, Mr. Bajaj and his entire team, to have coordinated with the Isha Foundation for this program, which has been beautifully coordinated and organized this morning. And on my personal behalf and on behalf of the bank, thank Sri Sharad for having been the host of this program, Swami Vajrabala, and then sisters Divya, Pavitra, Anita, Hema Mani, and all others who have made this program successful. I also acknowledge the presence of our executive director, Sri Shenoy, Sri Imran, and all our staff members who have participated actively in this program. I only sincerely wish and hope that the inner engineering which the Isha Foundation has been propounding is taken forward by all of us, and see that we are able to develop the immunity which brings about the physical health, improves the physical health, the mental health, and the spiritual well-being of the individual and for this nation. And thank you for Bajaj for giving me an opportunity to propose a vote of thanks. And from the bottom of my heart, I thank the Isha Foundation to have coordinated this program so beautifully this morning. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, Ramchandran sir. Thank you, Shanoy sir. Thank you, Imran sir. And thanks, Mr. Sharad and Isha Foundation for organizing this beautiful event. Thank you, viewers. With that, we conclude today's International Day of Yoga. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.